Good morning, dear students. Today I'm going to explain you giving feedback in writing. In our previous session, we talked about giving oral feedback in speaking. Now, today we are going to give how constructive feedback for our students' writing. Now, let's begin. The first fundamental principle of effective classroom feedback is that feedback should be more work for the recipient than the donor. So recipient here, you know, the students, and the donor is teachers. So feedback sandwich. Have you ever seen feedback sandwich or have you ever heard about it? Feedback sandwich consists of 3 layers. The first layer is bread. So you should begin your feedback with positive words and positive sentences. The second layer consists of, meat, cheese, and some salad. So here you should comment your students' shortcomings, your students' mistakes. So you should write here negative feedback of your students' writing. The third layer is again bread. So it means again more positive feedback. So you should end your feedback more positive words and sentences. So how can we organize our feedback in writing? So organize your feedback by theme. Keep your writing reviews neat and organized. The more marked and confusing a document, the more likely its author is to miss comments. Instead of pointing out each error case or area that needs improvement, it is better to address these issues as themes. For example, if your author uses incorrect punctuation in some places, you can comment, please check this document again to remove commas. If your author starts a few sentences in the passive voice, or you can apply this method if you use a specific formatting style that doesn't work well. This example of copywriting feedback is worth the effort because it will allow your author to read your work carefully before submitting the next draft. This will also save you time. Next one, deliver positive and negative feedback separately. It is important to provide written feedback on what is valid and what is not valid in the content. That being said, you should separate these types of comments, as I have mentioned above, so positive feedback and negative feedback separately. For example, don't comment, I really like the way you tell this story in this case study, but the quotes you use don't make any sense. This is confusing because it is not clear what is in the story. Instead, you can say, I really like the way you tell the story in this case study. It is fluid because the sentences are concise and the language is interesting. Then, in a separate comment, ask, can you edit the quote so that they can more directly illustrate the customer's impact from the solution? This example of copywriting feedback is worth studying because the more clearly your author can improve on them, the faster they will act. Ask questions that lead the writer where you want them to go. Another way you can help hone writer skills is to provide them with clear feedback on the direction you want them to go, rather than simply rewriting your copy yourself. For example, you might ask, do you think this paragraph will be more engaging with more active language? A good writer will re-examine the text and make it more dynamic. You can also ask, do you think this sentence explains this clearly, or can you explain it? This writing feedback sample will help you develop writer skills and allow them to think for themselves. They will be more familiar with your preferences and better able to get the results you are looking for. Now there are some criteria, which is a comprehensive list of the criteria an instructor can assess in a student paper. It is organized as a zooming lens, moving from global to local criteria. So the first one is organization. You should pay attention to the logical sequencing of information of the student's writing. The second one is focus. The ability to stay on topic, whether the student focused on the topic or not. The third one, paragraph development, the crafting of focused and fully developed paragraphs. Next, you should pay attention to the sentence crafting, the construction of clear and effective sentences. Next one, grammar. You should pay attention to the structural rules of a language. Mechanics, the conventions governing the technical aspects of writing, such as punctuation and spelling. And the last one, style, the purposeful crafting of sentences and paragraphs to enhance the communication of ideas. Now, some suggestions to give feedback in writing. The first one is address student by his or her name. This is very important. Next, start with something positive, a specific strength. Next one, balance positive and negative feedback. It is also very important. Balance the quantity of feedback, provide enough for the student to learn from, but not so much that he or she is overwhelmed. Conclude with a short list of what to work on in the future. So next slide is example phrasing. So you should begin your feedback with the following expressions, with the following sentences. This essay demonstrates excellent, or I especially like, or the primary strength of this paper is, and you continue your words and sentences, keep doing this. While you do a good job of, and you continue, is the chief strength of this paper, or good work overall, your essay is, and your ideas. You can continue your ideas. Now about shortcomings and mistakes. So if you want to give negative feedback, please begin with the following expressions. However, you are having trouble with. Unfortunately, this paper lacks. Or is a pattern of error here and needs to be remedied. Despite its strength, this essay, and you will continue. In terms of the paper topic, you, or in terms of your prose, you. These errors indicate that, or overall, what this problem suggests is, or you may begin, I would like you to work on this topic or this paragraph, etc. In your next assignment, I would like you to pay particular attention to, and you continue your ideas. Now, phrasing for particularly poor and or sloppy work. This essay reads as a first draft. This is not up to academic standards. This is not of passing quality. Your essay is unpolished and needs much more attention to the details of editing. Now here is the one of the example of feedback. Great job organizing your ideas. So here you see the feedback is begun with positive feedback, with positive ideas. You use the new vocabulary words very well. This is also positive. Now shortcomings and mistakes of the students. There are a few times where you confuse the past simple tense with the past perfect. Please make the corrections where indicated and turn in your corrected paper by Friday. Again, the feedback is ended with the positive feedback. Now some helpful verbs when identifying a student's strengths and weaknesses in the and comments. Employ, indicate, exemplify, address, which we can use often or frequently, yes. Claim, contend, assert, marshal, analyze, acknowledge, emphasize, recommend, prove, develop, illustrate, argue, report, urge, demonstrate, clarify, reveal, support, suggest, and observe. Now this is the end of our session. If you have any question, please write comments. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.